Good morning, and today we're going to take a look at the moral injury calculator. This is going to help you calculate the impact that maybe unethical practices have costed a significant burden on your soul, and you are actively working to resurrect it. And so, sure, people make bad decisions from time to time. We just hope that this isn't a pattern for you and your jurisdiction. So, inside of this morality injury calculator, this is an entire web-based learning app to help you learn all different ways for you to really maintain a strong ethical boundaries, especially when it might be put to the test. So on the homepage, you can click on the course and you'll find out that this is designed for a CLE type of course, but it isn't necessarily approved yet in your jurisdiction. So reach out if this is something you're interested in. So if you're completing this as not just an attorney, right, not just a guardian ad litem, the attorney who represents the child, but this could also be for a mediator, could be a forensic psychological analysis analyst. This could be for a parenting coordinator. If you're working behavioral health, this is another big one, especially because so many professionals are good at weaponizing mental health for their own financial gain. Social work, court development, all different types of people, and what ends up happening is the entire curriculum will change based upon the role that you specifically select. So you'll see that just like any other course, that there's learning objectives. So for example, the first one would be, if I scroll in a little more, says distinguish moral injury from burnout and identify its resources, self-transgression, witnessing, betrayal, or constraint in family law practice. Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to swallow. Here's another one. Apply at least 2 structural ethical decision-making frameworks to a practice dilemma. So many times you look at one situation one way. How can you look outside of the box, your own little box, or inside of your circle, or some would refer to it as a closed rank system? This is another one. Identify the protective factors for reducing conflict, improving stability, and a stable caring adult relationship. My gosh, this is so huge. And reconnecting a child with a parent, especially if that has been severed due to procedural abuse or forum shopping or weaponized ambiguity. These are terms that you'll start to learn if you start to immerse yourself in this ecosystem. This is another one, mapping common family law conduct concerns to the relevant rules of professional conduct. Now, here's one thing is you'll find is you can submit these complaints or things, but really it's up to the governing body to make that decision. So really this app was help to assist the regulatory bodies that are looking at some of these issues. That way we can start to put guardrails on this, labels, and so then that way someone can't weaponize something they might not know because they just weren't aware of it, which happens more times than you think. Here's another one, constructing personal implementation intention, if then plans to maintain ethical practice under pressure. That's huge. There's actually a tablet. We actually have a habit tracker, and you might see even here this little calendar notification pops up. It says ethics practice check-in. These habits or learning plans are now integrated with the technology that you use from day to day. That way you can improve your practice and not just try to work from some PDF that you downloaded from some seminar 2 or 10 years ago. So here, just timing agenda, but I won't go too long. This is a course that you can go through at your own time. Again, it's not necessarily CLE approved in your state yet. However, if you are concerned about ethics, I would definitely encourage you to at least suggest this moving forward. So here's one on the reflection of moral injury. And this, again, this is going to depend upon which type of practitioner you are. So if I click on begin here, we saw some of these roles here in the beginning. So what's going to end up happening is this reflection or this assessment is going to help you determine what this reflection exercise is going to be. So again, I'm going to choose guardian ad litem. This is the one that represents the kids. I'm going to click start reflection. So here's some questions for you to ask yourself. Okay, it says, so this is where we analyze self-transgression. Acts you took that went against your values. So this one right here, I took actions in my work that went against my own sense of right and wrong. Now this self-reflection, right? This data is stored, right? So we're not trying to track and see what type of person you are. This is for you. This data is for you and it's for your learning plan. So let's say you do say, this actually happens really often, that I've done this in the past. I've advanced a position or outcome I believe was harmful to a child or family. Oh my gosh, how many times do you turn a blind eye? But then we're also part of it. It can be a tough one. I stayed silent when I believed something unfair or untrue was happening. Oh my gosh, depending on the culture, this could happen like every single day or every single case. But it is something very often. I let winning, billing, or expedience outweigh what I believed was right. Man, I'm just going to choose often in this one. I saw colleagues or other professionals act in ways considered unethical. Oh my gosh. If you ever saw the YouTube video of the GAL is talking about the name of the bank. Like, this would be the box for everyone in that jurisdiction. I witnessed a child or family treated unfairly and could not stop it. Oh my gosh, how many times has that happened? I saw the process rewarded manipulation, posturing, or bad faith tactics. Oh my God, who's ever going to speak up in this regard? I watch decisions get made on an incomplete, biased, or misleading information. You'll see this happen a lot when certain cases are public and certain cases are sealed. People or institutions I trusted to do right let families down. Oh man, if you just analyze public trust in your area, you'll see what that looks like. I knew the right thing to do, but rules, caseload, or pressure made it nearly impossible. I think a lot of courts are facing this right now. It's just like they just don't know even how to keep up with the caseload. The system often seemed built to prolong conflict rather than solve it. Ask yourself how many judges and attorneys you've had in the last, 2 to 10 years. You can see that that's probably an issue. Leadership or institutions fail to act on problems I raise. We're just going to sit that there. I feel guilt or shame about things I did or failed to do in this work. Oh boy. And really, as you go through this here, this is not exercise in shame. This is just a reflection that helps you create awareness on some of these issues, so then that way you become part of the solution, not part of the problem. And I think we run into this a lot, especially when people are trying to move up or people are trying to just get along for the sake of supporting caseloads and not necessarily supporting families. So these are the answers, right? The exposure to ethical situations. You can see that this is something that's significant, right? So what's your plan looking at some of this? What's weighing you the most? Well, everything. I hope that's not you and your organization. But as you start to look at some of these like different pathways and different tips, once you click build a practice plan, this is where it gets to be super helpful. Again, we're not talking PDFs, we're talking about implementation. You build your own PDF based upon your own self-awareness. And if you don't have the self-awareness or to be or integrity to answer some of these questions honestly with yourself, then sorry, this isn't gonna help. So this is part of the plan. This is what was suggested based upon the assessment here. So if I just click, I'm gonna add that, And you know what, 3 is probably a lot to work on for the first week. You might just choose 1 per week. Look at the whole library. If you have a specific moment, right? Again, this specific moment is tied to this role. So if you can see here, when billing pressure tempts me to prolong matter, oh my gosh, when opposing counsel is being aggressive, do you just kind of like cower or do you stand up for your client? When a client demands something I'm comfortable with, what are you going to do? So then, well, this helps you look at things a little bit better. You can add it to your plan, and then you can see here, this becomes your plan right here. If I wanted to save this as a PDF, right, this now becomes something I can print off. Maybe we even add like a signature and a commitment date that says this is when I'm gonna do this, I went. But ultimately, you have your own action plan. And so let's say if you wanted to commit to this, now becomes your own personal declaration to preventing moral injury in your jurisdiction. If you would add in something else, cool. This is where you put in your name, and then this is where I think, let's see, I'm just going to do this just for the fun of it. I don't think I've done this yet. Generate my certificate. There it is. There's my personal declaration. So actually, I had that feature without even knowing that, which is interesting. Make a shareable poster. Ooh, all right. You can tell that there's a lot built into here. It's not just a course you have to wait and sit through for an hour to get your credit. This is something you can do now, especially if public trust has just been absolutely obliterated from, I don't know, years, decades of not following procedure. So right here, this is encouragement. Again, these are the things that help you reframe and really like take ethical considerations seriously. If you wanted to share something, right? Like let's say you believe in doing the right thing, especially when no one is looking. You can download this image, share it to your social media. There's different types of images and things that you can create in order to support this type of advocacy. And again, it's not for everybody, but it's those that are committed to a high standard of professional integrity and ethics. So I actually have the standards built in here that was pulled from the American Bar Association. So if you're not necessarily sure what those are right now, or you're just getting started, or let's say you've been practicing, or you can be maybe teaching this stuff, this is a good reminder to do it within this type of framework. It goes through every single one of these. So again, that's for you to take a look at. This is ultimately the long view. So many times we're just looking at the current case, but how's this going to end up in 2 to 5 years? Single decision. But oh my gosh, if this is a fixed process, then oh my gosh, can you be a part of the long-term solution? And so this will help you figure that out. Months long delay in resolving a custody matter, escalating conflict, or scorched earth tactics. These are some of the things that happen over and over again that you'll see using custody or the child as negotiating leverage, deciding about a child without surfacing the child's needs or voice. Oh my gosh, how many times does that happen where the child absolutely has no voice or say? This has to do what they're told. And let's say that this is something that happens up frequently. This is where you can add this specific issue as a habit to become part of your new routine. So if you really focus on the child's actual experience and that's something that you're committed to, great. Add it to your practice plan. And I think this is something that you can probably do within your local bar association if you're committed to professional ethics. This is something you could do in your own community group. Really, if you're committed to long-term success for your community, definitely a great place to start. So if you wanted to build a moral environment, here's another way of looking at this quick assessment here. If you wanted to figure out what the economic impact of delaying caseloads is. So let's say you take on 300 cases per year, and then you have a baseline moral injury exposure from the results that we've created from the assessment before. If we take a look at the average cost per unit and projection, this is just the economic impact, right? When you take a look at what the impact is off of a child, oh my gosh, that is actually something that either is here somewhere, or maybe it is, you can actually change these things around too. So let's say you want to make a pledge. We have a pledge wall that is come soon. So again, we have multiple ways for you to publicly declare your commitment to ethics and professional integrity. So I encourage you to take a look at the morality calculator. Again, it's morality.cotrackpro.com. Check it out. Let me know what you think.